you.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Amir, for that introduction of Veggies for Good. I am Aison, and my co-founder Ditsi are happy to be here to share with you our experience on selling agricultural products online, no? Especially through Facebook. So I will allow me to share our presentation. Okay, I will just share screen. Okay, good afternoon, good morning, and good evening to everyone. Veggies for Good is a platform, is a social enterprise that was born during the pandemic. No? We tried to help farmers and urban poor families to have sustainable income, especially during the lockdown when their livelihood were restricted. So a little background on ourselves.
I'm Ditsi, and I'm a documentary filmmaker. The kind of films I make are also about farmers and fisher folks, indigenous people. So no background whatsoever in selling anything.
I'm Aison. I work for the Office of the Vice President. My work is involved in community empowerment. So I go to different local communities and help them with their problems. No? The Office of the Vice President, headed by VP Lenny Robredo, is also a community organizer before. No? We work together in a NGO called Saligan, and this is the kind of work that we do when we were still with Saligan. So we do lawyering for the poor. This is one of the communities that we are helping. The Domagats in Aurora, they are the indigenous peoples who are very poor and are facing a lot of challenges in terms of livelihood and displacement from their land. During the COVID lockdown,
when the lockdown was declared in Manila last year, mid-March, nobody was allowed to work except for medical frontliners. And this posed a big problem for, especially to the informal economy, so urban poor dwellers. Normally they are able to survive no matter how poor because they find ways to just earn a living. But when the lockdown was declared and they were prohibited from going out to work, then this was a serious problem.
These are jeepney drivers who are begging in the streets because they don't have work during the lockdown. And there are also a lot of families who are homeless and are not able to work, like this family who are just dependent on scavenging garbage but could not do it.
So we first went around the city during this time because it was impossible to just stay home and be safe. What we did was we would have sacks of rice at the back of our car and we would give charity, like in this case, 5 kilos of rice that we would give to a street dweller. Normally, he would go out and scavenge in the streets and be able to earn enough to buy rice for himself. But during the lockdown, when all the streets were almost blocked, they could not earn a living. So charity was our first response.
And during the lockdown also, we offered free shuttle service through the Office of the Vice President. And we met urban poor mother who was waiting for a ride with her vegetable. She was carrying vegetables and some firewood. No? And she said that she went out amidst the lockdown because she cannot stand her family already starving. So she plans to just violate the lockdown rules by selling vegetables and and firewood. Her name is Dorina, and she has 5 children, and she is the one providing for their food and needs.
We visited Dorina a week or two after that first meeting of Aison and her, and we discovered that it wasn't just her. We were so proud because we brought some rice and some canned goods to share with her because we were so moved by her story. But what happened was her sisters came out and her mother came, also her brother, all of them in the same difficult situation of not having anything to eat when they were prohibited from going out of their homes to work. So the the sack of rice that we were so proud and happy to share with her would only last 5 days. We thought it would last for a month, but no, because she said, how can I eat when my sisters and her and their children were suffering the same problem?
And aside from them, there were also the Domagats who were asking help from us by selling vegetables and the produce that they have, because at that time the market were closed and they could not sell them, no, in their usual customers and channels. So we went there and bought a lot of their produce and put them into a jeep and bring it down to the city. So this is one of the Dumagat leaders that were partners with Kagat. No? And we brought them in a covered court, in a basketball court where there was no use at that time, and sell them to our neighbors uh, at a very cheap price.
The thing was, even if our neighbors were also responded by buying, since Ison bought so much, like 5 tons of the indigenous farmers' products, sweet potatoes and ginger and all that,
Root crops.
we were left with so much more that we did not know how to sell.
So we said, okay, let's widen our market by selling it online through FB page. That's when the Veggies for Good was born.
We first started with just selling to our friends, but we realized that we still could not sell all of these the root crops that would spoil in 1 week if we were not able to sell to a much wider circle. That's why we decided to create a Facebook page.
And this is what the Facebook page looks like. You can visit it, Veggies for Good PH.
The first thing we did was to ask a friend who she's an artist if she could help us create a beautiful logo. So there's the logo. And it also took us a bit of time thinking what would be a good name for our social enterprise. We thought maybe a name that would be catchy, but also something that would reflect the nature of our social enterprise. So some of the options we thought of, okay, what would be catchy? So we have a very creative friend who said, what about Veggie by Golly Wow? But also we thought, does it sound right? Veggie by Golly Wow is a social enterprise that believes in fair prices for farmers, sustainable work for mothers. It seemed to us that maybe not. It wouldn't be a good match. So in terms of branding, we thought that Veggies for Good was the name.
So with our friends, we spent some countless nights setting up the FB page and the other materials that are needed, like Google Sheet and price lists and the logos. So this is the first Google order form that we set up. So it is a way of ordering the vegetables. No? You can also visit it by clicking Veggies for Good order form below.
Then we ask our friends also to may payment method.
Yeah, so the payment method that we decided was bank transfer, GCash, this is the wallet, and cash on delivery, depending on the customer. Because there were customers who are not comfortable with the online payment system, so they prefer cash on delivery. But some are comfortable in contactless payment, so they will go for bank transfer or GCash. So it depends on the customer. And
then we created our price list, which we need to update. As you know, agriculture produce changes prices every day, and even sometimes twice in a day. The price will depend on the supply in the market. We asked a friend who was good with creating graphics to help us come up with an attractive poster, but also to show our price list. And it needed to be updated twice a week.
and there were a lot of questions that were repeated, and we decided to create auto reply so that on the first instance they will have the answer right away if we are not able to see their questions.
So in the beginning, we were doing it very primitively,
Manually.
just answering every question that came. But you discover that there are a lot of frequently asked questions, mostly when do you deliver? May I see your updated price list? What are the modes of payment? Where is your location? And then you kind of, once you see this, then you can create your auto replies on Facebook to save yourself the trouble.
And then you need to post regularly so that the customers and the potential clients will be able to see that you are active. So this is one of our posts, a regular post that help them order.
It's very important that for us, at least in our experience, our first post was actually why we put up Veggies for Good. And this is almost like it reflects your purpose, your story, and the big why of why you exist.
And then we posted different types of activities of Veggies for Good. No? So we introduced the mothers of Veggies for Good. They are the urban poor mothers who are helping in the packaging and in the selecting of the vegetables. So these are the sample posts on the urban poor mothers.
You can also post about, of course, the farmers, because they are really your primary. You can also post about the farmers and also about the products. That is important also. So your target customers start to have a relationship with you, or they care about your group.
This again are the Domagat farmers who are supplying the vegetables and fruits. And we also post the community engagements that Veggies for Good is doing. So this is an example of the community pantries that the Veggies for Good is serving. And the relief operations that we do for the communities. No?
You must understand that during the lockdown, a lot of urban poor settlers, those who cannot eat if they do not work for the day. And because the lockdown was quite strict and extended, relief operations like this and like the community pantries were happening just so people would not go hungry. These are all efforts and initiatives by non-government organizations and private groups also. And it's important for you to engage your community by posting about these kind of advocacies that you have.
And of course, the customer reviews will help um, on how they find your goods and services. So these are examples of the reviews that were posted also regularly to make the customers see and feel good.
But also so they realize that, it's important that you show your advocacy, that you're helping farmers and urban poor mothers. But um, bottom line for many of our customers is they need to know that your products are fresh, of good quality, and that you will deliver.
On time. And just post it in everywhere. So this is one of the posts that we make every week because we have a village market in a condominium, so that your friends, your family, and your network will see it.
When we say post everywhere, um, we post under our page, Veggies for Good, but because we started off selling to our friends and family, people who knew us from work and our network, we also posted like in our individual Facebook page, Facebook accounts, our personal accounts, because in the beginning, the people who will want to order from you are those who already trust you, and it takes time for you to get followers or likers in your page. So just try and post Ison's page, my account, and then Veggies for Good also.
And then use the FB stories for reaching other audiences. No? Usually, FB stories are just very short posts, and will lead them to see to your page. No?
Yes, many times millennials would rather not go to the timelines on Facebook
Long
and
posts.
just go to stories. So it's good to post also on stories.
And then use boosting to reach out to people outside your circles or network. And we use targeted boost where you can choose the profile of the people you want to see. You want to see your post. Our main targets are mainly mothers who order a lot for their household. So we have a budget for this, and we select the area and the type of people that we want to see.
So there's a button on Facebook that says boost post. Um, we don't recommend that you just click that. We suggest that you go to Business Suite and really target the audience that you would like your boosted post to reach.
Usually, you do the look-alike audience. That means that you know already your customers and you replicate them to other areas and circles. Okay. And usually, you will also see the statistics of your boosted post, and you will know which one works and which one doesn't work. So if you know which one works, then use that model to make your next post. So for example, this one, it is a post on farmers where we get the vegetables. So it reached 1,925 for 200 pesos only. And this is a good post for us because it created 313 engagement and 26 clicks, which are potential customers already.
It's also good to think about what promotions you can offer your customers and then post this on Facebook. So, for example, for Veggies for Good, it was we found most of the online shops that sell vegetables or meat or other products will give free delivery if you order something like at least 2,000 pesos. For the bigger shops, they will ask for a minimum 3,000 pesos of order before you get a free delivery. For us, we lowered it because we listened to customer feedback who said that it's very hard for them, even if they're a middle class family, to order 2,000 pesos worth of goods for the week. So we lowered it And we actually experience an increase in orders because of this free delivery for a lower ceiling.
And then outside the FB, you have to work on this networking, packaging, and labeling. So for our networking, we work with different logistics partners like 7-Eleven and Tanging Yaman to transport the vegetables from the farm to the city on crates so that it will be fresh when it arrives here. Packaging, so we work with different artists and creative people to help us package like this fruit basket for Christmas, and with a little label there that is a cute um, label for the customer or receiver. And then this adlay rice, which is an indigenous rice from Manobo of Bukidnon. So to make it a more friendly to the customer, we labeled it with the instructions of how to use it. And then for our packaging, we use paper cartons, recycled ones, because we listened also to the customers who said that we are using a lot of plastic and it's not good for the environment. So instead, we used cartons, and it protected the vegetables during the delivery to their houses.
Then it helps also to, so we use recycled boxes because it's quite expensive if you buy new ones. But we tried to compensate by coming up, for example, with thank you letters to have a personal touch. And this one, for example, so every box that we have has a letter that thanks the customer. And we say every time you order from us, you not only buy fresh, safely, affordably, you also help the farmers of Nueva Ecija and Laguna who grow your veggies, the urban poor nanays from Kogyo who carefully prepare your order, etc. So you put a face to and a name to the people who are a part of your social enterprise and who prepare the produce that eventually the customers get. So this what our customers, we find they actually like posting our letters together with their produce. This one is a letter that we sent with the order of of our vice president who ordered from us, and we put it at the top of our page because it generated so much confidence uh, for our service and products. And so we got a lot of orders from people who did not know Veggies for Good or know us personally, but who had so much trust for our vice president.
And then you post a constant reminder for them to order. So we do deliveries on Wednesdays and Saturdays. So we post this to remind them to already order.
And we do this in other platforms, for example, like Viber, because try to remember that our biggest target market are actually middle-aged women who order for a whole family or uh, a big household. And there, some of them are not too comfortable or do not spend so much time on Facebook, but they're very comfortable on Viber. So there are Viber communities, and we try to penetrate these and send them our posts, our updated price list, and a reminder that it is time to order for the week.
And then we develop a web app. So this is how it looks. So you can visit it at www.veggiesforgood.com. It's easier to use than the Google form, and it is not dependent on Google or Facebook anymore. So this is what it looks like. It has a gallery of pictures and easier to do your order. And it also stores your previous order so that ordering again is easy.
Then, of course, you can try and vlog, because I remember the first speaker suggesting that Facebook Live is quite popular. Facebook Stories is also popular. And people also like, vlogs because there is video, it's authentic, it's raw. So this particular video, for example, has a priest talking very simply about the farmers in a community.
Hi, good morning. Pare Gio again ng Vincent Labs at St. Vincent Domain Pantry. Bumalik tayo ngayon sa Nueva Ecija, sa bayan ng Llanera, upang kumuha ulit ng mga gulay direct from our farmers. But this time, kasama ko sina Ditsi, Carolino, and Attorney Aison ng Veggies for Good. Ito sila.
So this is a priest who organized some farmers in this community. He brought us there and he introduced us to the farmers in this area. So it was quite a short vlog, maybe 3 minutes, but it generated a lot of views because he's quite a popular priest who has been helping farmers. So we encourage you to do that also.
And then, of course, your quality control. You have to make sure that the transporting of the selection of the vegetable and transporting are good, and make sure also that you follow through the orders.
So this is outside of Facebook, but very important, because you have to remember that our customers are so empowered. If they are not happy with, for example, a broccoli comes to them and it doesn't look fresh, or there's a pineapple and then it's not well ripened, or inside it looks, not so good, then they can post about it. And that will mean maybe 15 people who are their friends who will not order from you. So very important to keep the quality control, to keep the produce fresh, because this is the time of very empowered customers. One post from them, from Facebook, that will show that that you had a problem with your produce, and that can be very bad.
And we also have those. So what we do is to respond positively to them and make sure that it will be corrected. So like this one, the pineapple that reached the customer was not good. So we offer to refund or replace it next time. So this is our recommendation for the group. So when there is a call for help, take a leap of faith, because it's an opportunity also for it to be an income and a sustainable livelihood for the farmer.
Of course, we did not know that there would be income, because in the beginning, as I said, I'm a filmmaker and he's a lawyer, and we both have our jobs, and we never really experienced selling anything before. But because we saw that there was a call for help, then we just took a leap of faith. And you realize that you actually have more resources than you think. So you just share as much as you can, whatever talents and time and treasure you have. And for things that you're not able to do, like we asked our millennial friends, they were actually our prayer group friends, to help us set up the Facebook page, create the logo, come up with a Google order form.
Posters.
Yeah, even the posters and things like even the web app. People are willing to help if they know that it's for a good cause. And so in the beginning, when we were not profitable yet, we did ask for help.
And think long-term and sustainability. So that means that you really make sure quality control is in place, and also make sure that your price is within the market, because there are times that prices are changing, and you have to update so that you will not price yourself out of the market.
But more importantly, we wanted to show here how important quality control is, that the produce is fresh and you are consistently able to provide fruits and vegetables that are fresh. And this is what we mean. We need to exercise tough love because sometimes, especially with indigenous farmers, sometimes it's hard for them to maintain a certain quality, but we need to exercise tough love and say, no, we need to always make our produce fresh, and we cannot provide produce that is problematic. And that way, you can be sustainable.
And it also helps them in
Improving.
improving. Okay, innovate and improve. We started with little variety of vegetables, but we listened to the customers and they wanted a complete variety, so that they can no longer go to one store and look for the other ingredient. So that's why we were able to offer also fruits and other vegetables, and eventually help other farmers um, in supplying them.
We also recommend that you just keep learning. We are always learning every week. We are changing, we are innovating, trying to improve always. Marketing is our weakest
Link.
yes, because that's not our background. But we ask for help from friends. Also, we learn. We attend webinars. We even go to Facebook. There are mini workshops in Facebook, and we can share some links of how to market through Facebook. It's also a good idea to look at your competitors, especially those that are already well established. Look at their Facebook page and see what works, what you can learn from them, and what you can improve based on what works with their group.
And then when there are problems and the situation gets tough, just go back to your why. Our why here is really to provide sustainable income for our urban poor families and for the farmers. So that's what keeps us moving forward, even if now the market is is opening up, so it's harder to sell already online.
Thank you.
And thank you. So from Veggies for Good, thank you very much.
Excellent.